Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to install the test version of Windows 11 on a VMware Workstation system here. So if you don't have a VMware Workstation, you could download it and try it out for, I think it's 30 days, maybe 60. And you could also use the free VMware Player, but it'll only let you run one virtual machine at a time. Or you could use the free VirtualBox, which works pretty well, not as good as VMware Workstation, but it's free. I have a video on installing Windows 11 on that if you want to check that out. But for today, we're going to do this on VMware Workstation Pro. So I have my console open here. I don't have any VMs because this is a new installation of VMware Workstation. So I'm just going to click on Create a New Virtual Machine. So this, I'm going to stick with the typical options because this is just a beta version of Windows 11. I'm not really going to do much with it. So I'm just going to go with the defaults here. Click on Next. So I'm doing from an ISO file that I downloaded online. So if you need to find out how to get that, I have a video for that. It's pretty simple to download one for yourself, so you could try out the beta version of Windows 11. So I'm going to browse here. And I have it in my ISO file folder here. So here's my ISO file. So I just double click it. And see, it says cannot detect which operating system is in this disk image, probably because VMware Workstation is not ready for Windows 11 yet. So we'll click on Next. So we're going to, it's a Windows, and the closest thing we have is a Windows 10 64-bit. So we'll click on Next, and we'll call this Windows 11. Okay, and I'm going to install this in my VMware VMs folder. Click on Next. Okay, so wants us to pick a disk size. We'll do 60. I'm going to do a single file because I'm not a big fan of it splitting it up into the chunks there, especially if you're going to do backups. And for this, just a test one anyway, so who cares? All right, so 60 is fine. We'll click on Next. Okay, if I want to customize the hardware, I could do that. So I'm going to give it more than 2 gigs of RAM. I'm going to give it 8. So keep in mind this setting here is going to be tied into how much RAM you have on your actual physical computer. So this computer has 32 gigs of RAM, so I could spare 8 gigs for this VM. So you don't want to bump it up, to the maximum here, or obviously not past it. We'll do 2 processors. Why now? We don't need it. NAT for the network controller, USB, fine. Sound card, fine. Display, auto detect is fine. Okay, and you could also click Add if you want to add a floppy drive or another disk or something like that. Okay, so we'll click on Finish. All right, so now we have the VM created, so it's just a matter of starting it up, and hopefully it'll boot from the ISO file here and start the installation. So power on this virtual machine. Okay, press any key. So because I'm running this or recording this video in a low resolution, it's going to be I'm going to have to scroll up and down on the screen here to fit it. So you'll notice that the Windows 11 setup, or at least for the beta one, this looks just like Windows 10. So I'll click on Next, Install Now. Okay, I don't have a product key, obviously, because it's not out yet. Okay, so now we have the options of which version of Windows we want. Doesn't matter here, just for test purposes. So we're going to go with Pro. Accept the license agreement. And we're not upgrading, so we're going to do a custom install. We're going to use all the 60 gigs that we just made there. So now it's copying the files. So I'll probably just pause it until this is done. All right, so now we just need to do a restart there. We'll see what happens next. Okay, so now we just need to pick our region here, so United States. Keyboard, United States, yep. We don't want a second keyboard layout. So these are similar options that you get in Windows 10. They just made it look kind of cartoonish. Checking for updates. All right, so now this is where it's going to ask if you want to set it for personal use or if you want it for work or school, like if you're going to connect to your domain or anything. Obviously, since this is a beta, we're going to do personal use here. Click on Next. Okay, now, Microsoft wants you to put in your Microsoft login to log into Windows with, but I'm not a big fan of that. I always like to do a local sign-in, so I'm going to click on sign-in options here and pick an offline account. Okay, so now it's telling you what a Microsoft account is. I'm going to skip that because I don't want that. And that gives you an option to use the online Microsoft account again, but we're not going to do that. Let's just do Bob for our username here. No, let's do admin. I always like admin. Okay, password. Confirm the password. All right, now we have to answer some security questions. First pet's name, let's see, Rover. Second question, city were you born in? Seattle, let's say. Third question, oldest cousin, let's call him Bob. Okay, so now these are the privacy settings. Unless you have a reason to turn these on, I always like to turn these off. I don't need to be sending Microsoft information about what I'm doing here. I don't need advertisement information. Okay, then click on Accept. And now you'll see this typical hi, getting things ready for you type of thing that you see with Windows 10. And this might take a few minutes, and it definitely will. Okay, made this all full screen here. Maybe it'll work a little better. Okay, so it's looking for a display driver. All right, so now we're at our Windows 11 desktop, and it opens the Start menu right away for you. So if you click off it, it's there. So, the Start menu's in the middle. It's kind of got like a Mac look to it with these icons down here. So you click on that, it just kind of pops it up, and the typical Microsoft software, Edge, Mail, Microsoft Store, and so on. You even have your settings, which kind of look like the Windows 10 settings. Oh, so it gives me some pretty good resolutions here for a VM. Let's see what that does. Nope. Yeah, I'll have to play with that later when I'm not in low resolution mode. So anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the installation. So, once you're there, you could start playing with it and see how everything works and see how it runs and all that good stuff. Widgets, it looks like it's a new feature there and so on. Oh, looks like it wants you to sign in Microsoft account to use widgets. So I wonder if you might have to do that after all. Oh, okay, so it's saying you need to activate Windows before you could personalize, and that goes for Windows 10 too, but obviously I can't activate it since it's a beta. So anyway, so yeah, so that's how you install Windows 11 on VMware Workstation. So download the ISO, just look for the video that we made for that, and give it a shot and see how it works for you. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.